And just a lot of beautiful comments all across social media a day ago. Justin Thomas, awful news, RIP to Rosie. Phil Mickelson said Tim was one of the best at what he did. He lifted those up around him and shared insight into the game of golf from an interesting and positive point of view. He'll be remembered by so many he came in contact with, and we're all better for having known him. Fred Couples as well on social media. I like the media. I love Tim Rosaforte. Ernie Yells on social. Saddened to hear of Tim's passing today, a brilliant journalist, a great friend, and shared many life discussions. I'll never forget you. And Annika Sorenstam as well on social media. We are so sorry to hear about the passing of Tim Rosaforte. I'd known him for many years and always respected the way he went about his business. He was trusted by everyone. His word was gold. He worked hard, but had a soft side. He'll be greatly missed. RIP to Rosie. And the great Jaime Diaz joins us now. And Jaime, you see those comments from some of the great players. I focus more on some of the comments from people that worked around Golf Channel. I mean, you look at some of the people off camera, Alex and Arthur and Aya sharing comments on social media a day ago about just what a great guy he was and how much he touched the people around him.
Such a powerful outpouring, really, of affection, of genuine love. And it gives you, inspiration that it matters what kind of person you are in life. And Tim had real warmth. He handled himself with grace. You know, for a big guy who could look like a tough jock, he was a graceful person interpersonally, and it matters. And, it touched everybody, players. You don't hear that from players to that extent. It's almost emotional. And it's encouraging to know that, he reached people that way and that it's possible to reach people who we work with, who sometimes it can be, conflict and awkwardness. And Tim transcended all that in a beautiful way. Eamon is a tremendous reporter. He knows that there's a dance great reporters do. Everybody does it their own way. Tim did a beautiful dance. It's like Jackie Gleason in The Hustler. Look at that big guy dance. He really had grace. And I appreciate it more than ever. I always recognized it, but I didn't realize how universal it's felt.
When you look at the ability to do that dance, Jaime, while still doing your job, that's to me what's intriguing about Tim, because he started in Florida newspapers, worked for 4 separate Florida newspapers more than 40 years ago before he became the much more public figure that we know. But he never lost that kind of shoe leather reporter attitude, did he? It carried him no matter where or what platform he was working in.
It's what he had the most faith in. That's what he believed was really why he could do what he did. And he took that as far as he possibly could, because it was his, his North Star, to feel like if I really immerse myself in knowing this, I'll do a good job, number one. But people will respect me, and I will gain, and they will gain my respect, because they're going to, feel like I'll participate in this, because I know it's all in good faith. I know you're after something higher, you're something that's meaningful, and journalism and just explaining golf, as trivial as that can sound. It's important when it's your life. And it was Tim's life, it's those players' lives, it's our lives. And if that's the connector, so be it. He went all the way. And I just sort of respect, the effort. It was a lot of sacrifice. He gave up a lot. But I think if he was watching today and yesterday, he would say it was worth it. I was recognized for the thing I cared most about.
Jaime, you wrote a beautiful piece on golfchannel.com. I urge everybody to go read that if you haven't already. When you work to gain the respect of professional athletes, when you work to gain the respect of professional golfers out there, it's all in your work. It's all in your effort, and it's all how you treat people. And when you see players like Phil Mickelson and Justin Thomas and Annika Sorenstam, I mean, these are the best of the best, all not just talking about who he was, but what he was able to do, the stories he was able to touch on. To me, that was a guy that transcended golf and transcended sport and transcended journalism.
The fact that they noticed, and golfers try very hard to get in a bubble sometimes, so they're impervious to, distraction. And journalists can be distraction, because you're asking questions that sometimes could be uncomfortable, or just things you don't want to think about. Swing thoughts, what'd you think about, what you were doing when you didn't close last time or whatever. And they do notice, though, that someone is actually trying to get to the truth of things and respect it. So even though it may feel like there's always a distance between us, it's very encouraging to see that there's actually kind of a bond, that we're after the same thing from a different direction.
What was really striking yesterday, Jaime, was the number of tributes paid by younger journalists in the golf space, people who aspired to knock Tim off his perch and take his job, all of whom had a story to share about how he had actually had a word of encouragement and a thought for them over the years. That's not that uncommon. That's not that common in a very competitive business.
I noticed that was the first thing you remembered about Tim, and it really was something that it's been called back to me now on people who just are texting that I haven't been in contact with. I remember the first time I met Tim. He was encouraging. I needed that. It meant so much. I remembered forever. And he was that way himself. He remembers starting out. You know, he was not a natural at this thing. He was a great athlete who was a college athlete, and he applied those same lessons of how you get good at sports to how you get good at your job. And he understood the insecurity of maybe being an outsider. And so he was very sensitive when he sensed someone was uncomfortable and maybe trying to find their way. You know, he was there to like identify with that and give a helping hand. Because he was such a soft guy, people gave him a helping hand. It was just natural to kind of reach out to Tim because, you know, you just felt like this guy is going to be open and he's going to appreciate it. And not that he needed a lot of helping hands, but just everybody needs encouragement sometimes. And I think he's very empathetic about that.
Jaime, it was a day of mourning, but it was also a day of celebrating a great guy, a great person, a great friend. I, again, urge people to go read what you wrote, and there was so much beautiful stuff out there online about Tim and who he was and what he was able to do and all of the people he touched. Tim, of course, survived by his wife Genevieve and daughters Molly and Jenna and 3 grandchildren. Tim was 66 years old. We'll be back after this.